Hi, this is your coach, Joe Lucas, and welcome to my latest Practice Power blog. Hey, first off, I hope you're off to a great start here in the very young new year. And as I've been kind of talking to you about some different strategies, both short-term, long-term, to make 2015 your best year ever, I thought we'd maybe shift gear a little bit and do a bit of a deep dive today into revenue increasing. You know, the old saying, hey, how do I drive more business into my business? You know, how do I drive more gross production into my practice? Well, today I'm going to give you some, first off, kind of a concept that works very well for all my clients. And then I want to kind of give you, if you will, a left and a right for kind of the core basics on a couple different things. So before we get into it though, you know, I want to let you know one of the key things I love about coaching financial advisors, and I exclusively coach financial advisors and have so now for 2+ decades. And I guess I should thank some of you who have been on my LinkedIn profile wishing me a happy anniversary and you know, 22, 23 years in IPG, and before that with Tony. I mean, it's just amazing to me. You know, I'm going to hopefully be here for another 25 years minimally. But the reason why I like coaching financial advisors, quite frankly, is measurability. You know, I mean, we see it. You know, this is a number-run industry, a numbers-run profession. You know exactly where you stand. You know what the score is based on your production. So what I like about it is that I can see immediate results when I work with somebody. You know, we can see their revenue grow 20, 25. We have one client this year, 38%. And I'm not talking about startups. I'm talking about 20-year veterans increasing their revenue flow by 38% year over year, doing some of these very same strategies. So let's talk about what we need to do here. But before that, let's also talk about what I see out there. You know, in my almost quarter century here of coaching financial advisors, the one thing I've noticed is that there's a lot of advisors out there who get, for lack of a better word, seduced by what I call the silver bullet solution to their problems of getting new clients. And you know, I think we've got to be careful. And look, you know, because I've got a very wide breadth. I work in wirehouses, independent RIAs, insurance companies, and everything in between. I get to see pretty much everything that's out there, from the latest seminar program to the latest direct mail campaign to now the online seminars to referral programs, all the above. And I think what we've got to be careful as an industry, and what I'm asking you to be careful about, and maybe you have some unfortunate personal experience with this, is cutting a check, thinking that's going to solve your problems if there are other challenges, is never the answer. You know, you can't put a Band-Aid on a gunshot, the old saying goes. So if your psychology is not right, if you don't have a morning ritual, you don't have a daily game plan, you don't have a written business and life plan that you can really get into, right? And you're just not drinking the Kool-Aid, so to speak, I don't care what marketing program you buy, I don't care what group you affiliate with, you're not going to succeed at the level you think, because there's some more work to do. And for a lot of the industry, this is the most challenging thing to do, because it requires you to look in the mirror and say, hey, you know what? I'm the problem. So just keep that in mind. So look, there are a lot of great companies out there, and there are a lot of crappy companies out there that will want you to part with their hard-earned capital offering you a solution, like I said. And I'm not here to kind of get into who's who and what's what. And here's why. I find that I can take any marketing program, and I'm sure they do this, and we can show people, advisors who have been very successful with it. So in other words, it works. And I've always said this, look, every marketing program works for somebody. What's going to work for you? So for example, you know, if you go ahead and buy a seminar program, but you don't like public speaking, right? That's probably going to be a bit of a problem down the road somewhere. We need to be aware of that. Or, you know, I was talking to somebody up in Canada recently, and they were telling me how a colleague of theirs was going to purchase this kind of referral process system for like $4,000 or $5,000, and it was going to require them to sit down with their clients and have the clients write a little note out to people and kind of, you know, endorse them, and then kind of we need to send it out. Here's the problem with it for this person. They're kind of shy. They're kind of laid back a little bit. This would really require them, from a psychological perspective, to really get outside their comfort zone. So what's the odds of that really happening? That program would probably sit on the shelf gathering dust, is my thought. So you got to know what works for you if you're going to invest in anything. And before you go ahead and do all that, let's just talk about what I call Revenue 101. One of my mentors years ago, Jay Abraham, and some of you know who he is. I remember him saying this very distinctly. Hey, look, Joe, there's only 2 ways to grow any business, okay? Only 2 ways. Think about this. You can either increase the amount of business that your current clients/customers do with you, or go get more clients/customers. 1A, 1B. That's it. So you can almost draw like a column down the middle of the paper and say, okay, there's increasing revenue from current clients, right? And then there's getting new clients. That's it. I mean, our world, isn't that at the end of the day what marketing and business development is all about, right? Optimization here in the current book of business and then getting new people. So here's the interesting part about this, though, from a coaching perspective and from a strategy perspective. A lot of you have hundreds and hundreds of households you've never optimized. You don't know what you have in your book, but yet, the industry conditions you. So when you're baby brokers or baby agents, little toddlers in our industry 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago, to always been thinking more, new. And you capture 20, 25% of a relationship economically, and you're going to go get more. And I see this all the time. Just talked to somebody last week, 381 households, maybe 50 of them are optimized. So let's go get some more and put it into the mess, right? I mean, that makes no sense. So remember, on the adding more revenue from your current clients, we'll talk about the one strategy that will cover a lot of the bases on this. It's your reviews, whether you do them annually, semi-annually, quarterly, whatever you do with your client base. Most advisors look at the review as this necessary evil, something I got to do, some clinical compliance makes me do maybe, or a lot of the industry is a fee justification play. In other words, they're paying me a fee, I better go sit with them and show them what they're doing, and we just kind of do that over and over again. What most advisors miss, when I say most, I say upwards of 90%, is they don't have the psychology that the review process is really one of the most powerful business and revenue development tools out there if you run a certain protocol. I've been shocked, literally, when I've talked to advisors and I ask them about the referral system, their process they have, not the referral system, their review process. I say, hey, what do you do? What are you doing in regards to your reviews? And it's a haphazard, usually it's very myopic. What I find is they'll spend 80% of the time looking at the portfolio, looking at the returns, looking at all that stuff, and they never talk about outside assets. They never talk about insurance, or the insurance guys never talk about, managed money. We don't talk about financial planning. We don't talk about lending. There's a lot of things depending on your models. We won't get into that. And because you look at the review as this kind of thing you got to do. And it's crazy. So, one of the things when I talked to enough advisors over the years, I realized there wasn't a real strong model out there. So if you're a member of Practice Power, what you can do is go in and you can find in the Practice Management Center, there's an e-learning series on how to run a great review. What I've done is taken 5 to 8 of my top clients who I think just do a fabulous job, multi-million dollar producers, and I show you the protocol that they run inside the review process. You need to master that. Reviews can be one of the most powerful business development tools you have out there. So that's that's the key way, that's the left foot, if you will, to go ahead and increase revenue. And you want to have a goal on how many reviews you plan to do in a given year. What's the outcome? Now, let's talk about the other side, okay? So once you kind of get that under control, now what we need to do is go ahead and get new households. Now, again, when I do my annual business planning event in Orlando, I always poll people. I say, look, how many households do you want in the upcoming year? There's always some outliers that will say 25, 35, and those are usually the seminar people, by the way. Nothing wrong with that. And then I'll have some people that are like 4 to 6, and they cater in the ultra high net worth, and with $3 to $5 million minimums, and then kind of everybody else is kind of in between. The average advisor is probably looking for between 12 and 24 new households. 12 to 18, we can even chunk it down that much. So if you've been around for a while, best way to do it, in my opinion, is referrals and introductions. And I'm going to devote, probably a couple of these over the next several months of talking about referrals is like the third rail of my world. I get so passionate, so pissed, because I just don't understand why some of you just can't get it through your thick skulls. That's the best way to do it. Let's go make it happen, right? But enough of that. So referrals, right? It's really a key thing about putting that onto, into the touch base calls, right? We want to make sure we're kind of bringing it up in a very soft way. We want to make an agenda item. We want to be doing client events, bring a guest. There's so many different ways to promote introductions and referrals. Now, for some of you, real quick, what's the difference between an introduction and a referral? It's just jargon, because referrals got to be a bad word, right? It's like a four-letter word. So they came up with a new way of saying it. Really is the same thing, okay? So referrals will be your right foot. So left foot, reviews, right foot, referrals. R squared, if you need to remember that. Revenue, right? So think about that. Revenue, referrals, reviews. Very simple psychology. It's going to make a big difference in your practice. So those are some things I want you to think about. What is my review strategy? And I said in the Practice Management Center Practice Power, we've got that. What is my referral strategy? In the Business Development Center of Practice Power, we have an e-learning series. It gives you the terminologies, the psychology, the approach. You know, clients of mine have used that process for years, driving 35, 45. We had one person at our business planning event did in excess of 50 referrals in 2014. 2 years ago, she was a cold walker, because that's what her firm wanted her to do. Point being is, things can happen if you want to change your behavior. I know I'm getting a little long here, so two things real quick. Number one, if you're a silver or gold member of Practice Power, starting in February, in fact, February 18th at 4 p.m. Eastern, we're going to have our first monthly webcast. So what's a webcast? It's an opportunity for you to submit questions for me in advance that I'll answer for you or during our live event. In addition, I might be bringing some brand new material, some new concepts and new strategies. Hey, the quote unquote, hey, what's working now? Well, you're going to get that as a silver and gold member on our monthly Practice Power webcast. And then lastly, before we say goodbye, it's this little bit long video here. I hope you take me up on my offer. I'll gift you 30 minutes of my time. You're willing to take 20 minutes of your time. Fill out a very, I'll call it a lengthy evaluation process. Hey, no free lunch here, right? And if you're really committed to having 2015 your best year ever, I'd like to talk to you about that. So until next time, it's Coach Joe Lucas wishing you nothing but success in your business and in your personal life.